Tokunbo.
Hi, Esther.
So good to have you. Thank you so much. You look amazing as usual.
Thank you.
So I know you're already informed about why you're here, and so without much ado, I want you to just share a bit of your story because a lot of people don't know that people that they look up to actually have some stories that are never told, and those stories are stories of strength. They're stories beyond the scars that we've been through. And so I'd like to hear from you.
Okay. I'll try to be as brief as I can, right? And not to, as brief as I can, and not also diluting the essence of the story. So yeah, my name is Olatokunbo Boladi. I'm a mother, a sister, a wife, and a very good friend.
I can actually attest to that.
Okay, so yeah, what is unique about me, or what is the story behind, or why am I here? Well, essentially, I have a very interesting story, right? And the thing is, it just cuts across different areas of my life and different seasons in my life, and this story just pans across, right? I mean, I grew up. I don't even have, to be honest, I don't have a lot of memories about my childhood, right? But the most interesting thing for me that has been constant throughout has been my sister. My sister has always been my rock, my friend, my mommy, my daddy, my
Best sister in the world.
Yeah, she's an amazing person, right? Her name is Bumi, right? So, I mean, I grew up in a family where my mom was not around, and it was to the best I can remember, right? It was, the marriage didn't last so long for them, right? And they went their separate ways, right? And that was very defining for me because I didn't really have anybody to turn to when I had, just little struggles or joys or victories. But I always had my sister, right? And then, as far as I can remember, from the earliest of years, I remember that I've always struggled with maths.
Okay.
I've always struggled with maths. I'd always struggled with learning and comprehension, right? I went through primary school, then I got through secondary school. But there had always been something that, and this was an underlying, and I always struggled with arithmetics, mentals, what's it called now? Mathematics in general, right? I found myself in science class. I was good with every other thing to an extent, right? But maths was always an issue.
Okay.
Eventually, I graduated from school. I had was it P7, something like that, P7 in maths and all. So when I kind of gained admission in school. You know what they call this? It was post pre-degree, yes, PDS, yes, pre-degree. And what that meant was for those that had some level of insufficiency of credits in any area, you will make up for that in taking those courses in school. So that was like that level. So I did pre-degree and all that, just to enter mainstream 100 level. Eventually I did, right, and then again I was supposed to study computer science because they knew it was computer science. And to be honest, I would say it's because they knew it, because really I was just hoping they would just give me something, let me just do this thing and just go. But it was computer science. Oh my god, I struggled. Because computer science at that time in school was purely maths. We were doing a lot of mathematics, a lot of statistics, calculation, just a little bit of programming language, which was basic, COBOL and all that. I struggled. It was a 5-year course. Of course, there was strike and other issues, but I spent 10 years.
Wow!
For a 5-year course.
Wow!
Honestly, I spent 10 years with her. I had the extra years.
How did you survive? How did you cope? Like being in the same
Honestly,
for 10 years?
I kept trying to remember how. I just knew that, hey, like when I checked the board and I don't see my name again on the graduation list, it was traumatizing. It was traumatizing.
I can fully imagine.
Having to go through that for 10 years. Eventually, when I saw my name on the board, I still remember that feeling. I cried, I laughed, I danced, I was so happy. Like, finally, I was in this right? Then again, I saw my name on, what's it called now? The NYSC board. it was just an amazing moment, right? And that was it. But the thing is, all this struggle, all these years did something to me. And it's very terrible. It just kind of limited me. In my head, I didn't see myself beyond that level. I just felt that I wasn't good enough attaining professional, like professional, there's a height I could attain. There was a lot of things I couldn't do. So in my head, I was like, maybe I'll probably go into business. And this is not to water down people that are in business to say that they are not smart enough for it. But for me, in my head, that was what the story I was telling myself, that I can't handle 9 to 5. I can't handle, for example, a technical demanding role or anything like that. I will do better with something that will not involve me thinking too much. Maybe I will just be sewing bed sheet. Actually, it was bed sheet.
Wow.
That's maybe just go and do bed sheet.
Did anybody
Don't
ask
ask me
so
why.
that to you?
Nobody. So for me, the giant was not even the externalities. It was me. It was what I was telling myself. And it was because of everything I'd been through. These are the stories I told myself, and this was my reality. Like my sister is my sister can calculate 10,000 times 10,000 in her head. She's so smart with numbers, and I always look up to her. Right? Let's see. This is the way the name is. That born me. I know too sabi. I don't know so much. Let me just, and I just resume to. I just resigned to it rather that this is just me. I'm not smart. I'm not intelligent in any way. That's how I defined myself, and I believed it. Because this was coming from me. Nobody had to tell me, and I believed it for the longest time.
It was stronger because it was
Yeah.
coming from within. So anything that came externally just maybe emphasized or confirmed it.
Do you get? I had a friend, and I used to wonder what. And the thing is, this person is even still my friend too. Now, I used to tell him, right now, he says things like, I used to tell you them. I used to tell you them. I'm like, I don't know what you saw. Because truly, this my friend will always tell me, talk about this, talk about your that, talk about your sweet, I've seen you. I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing, no. It's actually not me, right? So yeah, and we went on for the longest time, right? Eventually, yeah, I went for service, came back, and I got a job. Funny thing was, I got a job to sell loans, to start selling credits, and I did that. And I just was so happy because I didn't even think I was going to get a 9 to 5. Because I graduated in third class also, right? And I felt, oh, do you get employed? And yeah, I got that one, and I was just happy doing it. But it was a very sad move for me. It was very, very sad. So eventually, I resigned from that role for other reasons. I was going to start a family, and it was very, very. The role was too intense, to handle that and building a new family. So I dropped that role. Then again, I went back to that zone of helplessness, or being that nothingness. I didn't see myself as so much, right?
Felt empty.
Very empty. Very extremely empty. Extremely empty. And I believed it.
But did you have anybody to talk to during those periods?
I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed. I just believed this. The funny thing is, I didn't even really confide in even my sister or my husband and all that. Because I just felt that maybe they will even validate how I'm feeling. That look, let me just bear this thing myself, right? To every other person, I look strong and I look this or that, but I was battling with shame. Yeah.
Because there's this thing that I've noticed about people that have been through trauma, people that have gone through situations like that. They tend to isolate themselves.
Yes,
They believe it's better controlled within them than letting it out. So if I may ask, when did you start the journey to healing? Or what was the turning point for you?
It was just coincidental. A word, something they call like serendipity.
Okay.
I just stumbled into it. And this is one thing about God's love and how intentional God is, right? It's like God just saw me there and decided this is my child. I can't let her go. Because I was, like you said, I was very isolated. I wasn't really, because even the closest people to me didn't realize what I was going through, right? Nobody knew, right? It was something I just battled on my own. I used to worship at a particular church, and that was where I grew my faith, became born again and all that. Then I met my husband, and then my husband was worshiping Covenant Christian Center at that time, right? And invited me. I was like, no, I don't want to come. They were so considered. I can't leave my church. I said, just come for one service. I came for one particular service, and since that day, I did come back to church. From that point,
I can connect to
I
that.
was like, Pastor Oju just he saw into my soul.
Yes, it was a word in
Yeah.
Read the
And what he was preaching, I know Pastor likes preaching around series, he picks a topic and goes deep into it. And it was around altars. He was talking about altars. Altars in the sense that God has visited you in certain areas or certain seasons of your life. And those areas or those seasons or whatever he did at that time are your altars. To revisit it, because everything reproduces after its time.
Yes.
Go back to those seasons, go back to those times when God has done those things for you. Worship Him. Let that be your altar. That's what it means. Go there, worship Him for what He did there. And the way out for your next will come out of. See, that day my mind was blown. Then I started thinking of it. How did I even graduate? This thing that was like the biggest struggle of my life, He brought me out of it. I started to worship God for that season. I mean, that was the turning point. That was how my healing began. And the thing about worship is intimacy with God. Like you bring yourself bare before your maker. He meets you at that point and begins to reveal things to you. He begins to show you much more, right, than you planned for, right? And that was it. So Pastor Kojo, teachings from Pastor Kojo opened me up to worship. And I began to build intimacy with God. And from there my life started unraveling. I mean, things started turning and it was my mindset that started to shift.
Yes, the mindset shift.
My mindset started to shift. I began to see things in a different light. I began to love God more, and as I began to express that love, I began to see that these things are lies. I saw something one day. So I was reading the book of Genesis, like I said, and I just stumbled on that. I was just fixated on that part where the streets of no, it's not even the book of Genesis. It was Revelation. It was Revelation actually. Oh, two different things. I was studying in the book of Revelation. So this is the part I'm starting from. I was studying the book of Revelations, and I just stumbled on how the streets of heaven is paved with gold. To me, that means that gold, as valuable as it is, star in heaven.
Just like what we use here.
That's what like a star in heaven. And people walk on it. If people are listening, they will drive on it. I just said, is it not the same gold that do you get dream that made a dream that it's so valuable and everything? Do you know a thought just came to my head? I can actually decide that since heaven that is my permanent site, right? I won't wait till I get to heaven before I start adorning myself with gold. I made that decision that day that I won't wear anything if it's not.
Wow. Now I understand why gold is one of your favorite colors.
So gold is one of my favorite colors. I
Now I
always
understand.
you will see me with a piece of jewelry that is gold.
Yes, that's what
And it to me it does something to my mind. It reminds me that I'm royalty. It reminds me that I'm too much, I'm too valuable to just allow myself. So it's like I said before, it's not even about I am a self-starter, right? I'm very driven, I'm very ambitious. I necessarily do not need motivation from people, honestly. I don't need anybody to tell me I'm this one, that, or validate me. As long as I am giving that to myself. Because these are the struggles I've had all my life.
Yes.
So I've had to deal with the demons that have been there, and they're always from me, from within. So when I put on a piece of jewelry, it just validates me from within that it reminds me TK,
Yes, you're royalty.
I'm royalty.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You know, it's really been inspiring just listening to you. But I want to ask one more question. By any chance during the period of this journey, let me not call it period, this journey of your life, did you at any point make contact with anything that was artistic, anything that was creative, anything that you had to do by yourself that literally changed the trajectory of your life?
Anything that comes to mind as close to that is worship, singing, music, right? I remember that there were, in fact, for different seasons of my life, for everything that had to come true, there's a theme song. I remember when I was trusting God for the fruit of the womb, it was Sinach. Oh my God. It was Sinach. Sinach live in London. That was like, when I'm having my bath, there's a shower cap on my head. My phone is in the shower cap. The earpiece comes from the phone into my ears, and I cover my face and my ears. Like, my every waking moment was that album. Was the whole of that album.
So music
was it for me.
But please, can you just briefly tell us what bettered Kodimom?
So Kodimom started off, I started off my career in tech. God directed me to give me clarity and all that. So I picked up my career in tech, and then I just started having very big challenges, right? I started having to battle or try to juggle taking care of my child, my family, and work, right? So I was in the middle of a very stressful sprint, right? So I worked at a vascular feature, and my daughter happened to have a lung infection at that time. It was just so stressful. In fact, I broke down during one of the meetings. I was just crying and everything. But I had an amazing team. I had a very amazing line manager, and so they gave me time off to sort that out. But in it, I just realized, I just came that realization that, of course, there will be a million and one mothers, right, that are trying to start up their careers and, and they're struggling. So that's an aspect of providing the support and everything, right? And then I decided to, because even at that time, I was the only mother, right, on my team, even in the organization, I was the only mother in tech, doing what I was doing, and so there was no, in a sense, point of reference. I always felt alone. I always had to go and meet the guys and try to explain myself. I was so there was this session I had, and it was a session about being the only one. I was like, when have I not been the only one, right? So all these put together, I said, look, let me just start a community to encourage new mothers, and we can do this. Then again, seeing how the trajectory of my life changed financially, the more freedom I got, the ability to do more for my family, for extended and immediate family, right? Just showed me to say, look, we can have more mothers doing this. Let me show mothers how to, right? We don't necessarily have to settle,
yes,
right? We can attain for more, aspire for more, and be more, right? So, all this just drove me to start a community and to just be that example for mothers. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Because for me, I believe beyond just the worship being therapeutic, because I know music is a therapy, I believe Kodimom was also therapeutic for me, because beyond that...
Yeah, honestly, right now, that's what Kodimom is to me now. Kodimom is my source of inspiration. When I see what the mothers are doing, when I hear their stories and see how far they've come, it's just, I'm like, wow. Like, so it inspires me at a different level. I tell them that you guys do more to me than I do.
Like, that's the idea. The fact that you were able to move from that point in your life where you needed support to that point where you are now supporting. That's an amazing story, and I believe that's what God has actually called us to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've said this to you, but I'm super proud of you. I'm inspired by you. I look up to you, and I know that there's so much more that God is set to do through you, with you, and for you. So thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you to sit beside the Kodimom. I remember how much I looked up to you, and I'm right here, enjoying the company of, the Kodimom. It's amazing. Thank you so much. It was so amazing talking to you. I look forward to more sessions with you.
Of course. Thank you. And I'm doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.